Everyone. So today I wanted to talk about sleep training, little Miss Savannah. We just recently did that, and I've been getting a few of my friends and some people messaging me and asking me how I got her to sleep, and like without the swaddle and on her own in her crib, in her own room. So, first of all, happy 4th of July, everybody. So, I'm just going to get started. Savannah has always, she's always had trouble sleeping. As a newborn, they always say, like, oh, newborns sleep like 24 hours a day. Not her. I mean, she slept, but, like, not nearly, like, the recommended sleep amount that babies her age should get. She's just always had trouble doing it, and she was in a bassinet. She hated the bassinet because as a newborn, like, there's too much space in there. We swaddled her, we put her in her rock and play, and she couldn't sleep. And then eventually the only place she could sleep was in her swing, swaddled, wrapped up in a blanket, so like literally a warm burrito swinging on like level 6, which is the highest. And that's like the only way she would sleep. And she slept there during the day. Like, I didn't feel comfortable having her sleep in the swing at night. So night times were really, really rough. I mean, my husband and I would play the pacifier game. She'd put the pacifier in her mouth, and then she would fall out and she'd wake up. So we'd have to go back and put it in. And we went nights and nights and nights. I mean, probably months of no sleep, because she just wouldn't sleep. So finally, I went to Chicago recently, about a month ago, and my mom, and I brought her swaddles, and I was like, Savannah, you're not going to have a swing in Chicago, so we got to figure something out. And my mom, first and foremost, was like, get rid of the swaddle. She's 3 months, or she's almost 4 months. No more swaddle for Savannah. And I was like, I don't know, we'll see. So that's how we first started sleep training. We got her out of the swaddle, and what I did to have her get out of the swaddle was I purchased a DockATot. This is a DockATot. It's kind of big. Let's see. I'm trying to find like a good way to show. So this is what it looks like. Can you guys see? So, and this opens at the bottom, so their feet can be stick out once they get big. So what a DockATot is, I mean, as you can see, it's kind of like a little bed with little bumpers on the side, so that way when they're out of their swaddle, they still feel a little snug. So that's what we used, and it was a little hard at first. It probably took like a good 2 to 3 days for her to actually like realize, oh, I can sleep with these out. And what we did was we put her down, and she would start whining and fussing because she didn't know what these were, and we'd give her the pacifier, and then we bought a Levy. This is a Levy. I'm sure you guys know. It's like a little tiny, just a little tiny blanket, just a security blanket, and we would just just rub her face, get her nice and sleepy, and let her know that like, we're here, you can do this. And eventually she would just tire herself out and eventually fall asleep. Now, the naps weren't that long. They were like 20 minutes because she would eventually wake herself up. So it's not easy. It's a process. It took some time, but eventually she did it. So with the use of a DockATot and a Levy and a pacifier. Okay, so that's done. But I'm still bouncing her on the yoga ball to get her to fall asleep, and then putting her down is like detonating a bomb, because you're like, and I know every parent has gone through this, you put your child down and you try not to breathe and you walk away. They've said, and I'm sure you guys have heard this, you want to put your baby down drowsy but awake, because they need to learn to put themselves to sleep. Otherwise, you're going to be bouncing on that yoga ball for the rest of your life, and that's not good. And if your baby wakes up in the middle of the night, they're not going to know what to do, because they need you to put them to sleep. We weren't getting any sleep, and she was about 4 months at this time, and I was like, okay, like, enough's enough. You need to be a big girl and do it on your own. That's right. So I talked to a bunch of my girlfriends, and there's so many different methods out there for sleep training. I'm sure you guys have heard of Cry It Out, anywhere from crying it out to no cry sleep method. What we did, a girlfriend emailed me an iBook version of the Happy Sleeper, and they use the sleep wave method. What the sleep wave method is, and I'm just briefly summarizing it. You put them down, drowsy and awake. Well, first, okay, I'm going to start from the beginning. You want to have a bedtime routine, and I'm sure you guys have heard that. So a bedtime routine is, you give them a bath, you take them from the bath, you bring them to their room where it's nice and dim and relaxing. You give them a massage. You maybe do some baby-led play, which means they take control. You put them down on the ground, and you let them. If they want to grab your face, let them grab your face. If they want to make a noise, let them make a noise. Like, you're kind of just there. You're not leading the playtime. They are, because that primes them for a mindset of independence. They're leading, so, and they eventually need to lead themselves to go to sleep. So baby-led play is good. And then read a book, feed, and then put them down. And you want to have a script. And the script can be whatever you want. We say, good night, I love you, have sweet dreams, mommy's right outside. And you leave. They're probably going to start crying. So what the sleep wave is, you let them cry for 5 minutes. And when I say cry, I mean like cry. Not like whining, not fussing, crying. Once they start crying, you time for 5 minutes. If they don't go to 5 minutes, if they stop crying, then you stop the timer. And if they start crying again, you start again to 5 minutes. If they start crying 4 or 5 minutes, you go in, you don't touch them, you just walk up to their crib to let them see you, and you say the script again. Good night, I love you, mommy's right outside, or whatever you want your script to be. And you leave, and you do it for 5 minutes again. And if they make it to 5 minutes, then you go in again. You say the same thing without touching. You just want to let them know that I'm here for you. And the 5 minutes is good consistency of like giving them time for themselves, but also letting them know that you're still here. And so it's a little bit of crying it out, but not too much. The first night was actually really good. I mean, she definitely cried, but then she eventually fell asleep in like 40 minutes. And it was amazing. It worked. I put her down at 7 because the sleep wave also says to start your bedtime routine at 6 and then have them in bed by 7 p.m. 7 p.m. is like the magic number. So they'll probably sleep till 6 a.m. And, if they wake up a few times a night, that's okay. And it talks about in the book of, like, what happens if my baby sleeps in the same room as me? What if I still feed my baby twice a night? It covers all of that, but that's the gist of it. So the importance is a bedtime routine, a consistent bedtime routine, getting them to bed by 7 p.m., and a baby her age, if she's 5 months, should be up at 90-minute increments. No more than 90 minutes, for sure no more than 2 hours. Because there's a special window of when they're just tired enough, and you want to put them down right when they're just that tired. Because if you go past, then they start to get wired and slap happy, and then they have energy all over again, and it's going to be impossible for them to fall asleep by themselves. So again, the book that I read is The Happy Sleeper, and the method I use is the sleep wave method, if you guys want to look more into that. So that's that, and then things that I use to help her. It's in the book. It says to make sure that the room is nice and dark. For naps, you want to buy blackout curtains. So a girlfriend of mine told me to purchase blackout curtains. If you can't afford blackout curtains, what we did for a little bit until we received the blackout curtains, we put foil up on her windows. That really blocks out the light. The only thing I don't like about that is when she wakes up from her nap, there's no natural sunlight. We have to use the light in the room, and I would prefer natural sunlight. But you can use foil if you want. Another important thing, like I said, a levee, and she actually has a levee that you can attach her pacifier to. It's just being washed right now. But this is amazing. They love it. And at her age, I mean, I don't really worry about suffocation stuff because she's, I don't know, she's pretty old enough to not do that. And also, I mean, that's what a monitor's for. And just use your best judgment. You know what I mean? If you don't feel comfortable having a lovey, don't use it, or give it to them, and then once they fall asleep, take it away. You know, use your best judgment with that. But she's perfectly fine with a lovey. This has really helped. Another thing is sound machines. So I had this like Cloud Bee Bunny sound machine, and it was fine, but the longest it could go is 45 minutes, and the book says to use something that doesn't stop, something that's consistent. So a girlfriend of mine recommended this Graco sound machine. We got it off Amazon. It was around $60, but it's really nice. It's really easy to use. There's a bunch of different sounds. There's a heartbeat sound, which we use for her. You know, it has like waves and beach and all that stuff. Excuse me, all that stuff. But we use the heartbeat, and it's also a night light. But we don't use the night light because it's too bright. We want it to be really dark for her. So we got this off Amazon. It's Graco sound machine. I love this. Another important thing that we use, so instead of swaddling, we have these little sleep sacks. Let me show you. So this one is, in particular, is Aiden and an A, because we live in LA, so it's hot in here, so it's nice and breathable. So it's a little sleep sack, so her feet are still kind of in something, not tight, because you want them to be able to kick their legs up, be able to move to the side. If they're side sleepers, that's another thing we discovered. She loves sleeping on her side, and we would have never discovered that if she was in a swaddle or in the rock and play. So this one in particular is a swaddle, but it transforms into, you can tuck these underneath their arms and have their arms stick out. So this is kind of cool because it's 2 in 1. So sleep sacks are great because it still gives them a little bit of weight. You know, it's like you falling asleep without a blanket. It doesn't feel right. So putting them in a sleep sack still gives them a little bit of sense of security. So sleep sacks are great. Another thing we learned the hard way was we put her down. You know, she was falling asleep and she kept waking up in the middle of the night soaking wet. I, as a first-time mom, totally did not realize, oh, now is the time to probably buy overnight diapers. The diapers that, you know, like last 12 hours or whatever, leakage protection. So these ones are just Pampers. I try to be as eco-friendly and as green as I can. So Pampers, nothing against Pampers, but, you know, there's probably a lot of chemicals in here. But these were the only ones I could find. Recently I went to Target, and Honest Company makes overnight diapers. So once we run out of these, we're going to purchase the Honest Company diapers, and we'll see how those work. These are great. Last night it actually leaked through, but I think it's because she started solids and she's eating more, and these are size 3, and size 3 is probably a little too small for her now. But these are important because it helps them stay dry throughout the night, because if you're wet, you're cold, and if you're cold and wet, you're not comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you can't fall asleep. So I always say I want to set her up for success. I want her room to be dark. I want it to be cozy. I want her to be nice and dry and warm and feel secure. You know, so you want to set them up for success, because if you leave one of those steps out, it's going to be harder for them to fall asleep. I think that's everything. So again, we used the sleep wave method from, that's Mommy's hair. That's Mommy's hair. Can I have it back, please? You think this is funny? We used the sleep wave method from the Happy Sleeper. It involves a little bit of crying it out. Yeah, but it's okay. You're a tough girl. But it saved our butts. We're finally getting sleep again. She can put herself to sleep. It's been amazing. I don't know what I would do without sleep training. I totally recommend it. And another thing I did was, it can be hard hearing your baby cry. It can be really hard. So I was texting girlfriends, you know, while I was going through everything for moral support, because that always helps, because it's hard to hear your baby cry. But it's the right thing to do because they need to gain that independence. And you need your sanity, you need your sleep, you need time for yourself. Because at 7 p.m., you know I'm getting that glass of wine, and I'm running my bath, and I'm having time for myself, because that's extremely important. Because a good mommy needs to be able to take care of herself, because if a mommy that takes care of herself, she will take good care of her little baby because she's sane. So anyway, that's it. If you guys have any questions, please email me or comment or whatever. Hope this helped a little bit, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
Baby girl, don't cry, just close your pretty eyes. Mama's gonna sing